The dreaded post-show rebound. Now, it's not to say that you will have one or that you've even experienced one before, and I hope that you haven't and don't. But most of you, if you've been around the figure world for any length of time, either have heard stories of or know somebody that's had a pretty not so nice rebound post-show, meaning a significant amount of weight gain in a relatively short period of time. It's a lot more than just you know, your body craving certain things because you've been deprived of them for a length of time. It goes a little bit beyond that, and that's kind of what I want to talk about here for a minute. Usually, in order to get lean enough for stage and conditioned enough, you either have a calorie restriction and or a carb restriction for a length of time in order to tap into those fat stores and burn them. So, because that low carbing can be extremely effective for that. And when you're taking in less food, your body will naturally adjust by slowing down your metabolism. Even if you tell yourself, okay, I'm taking in less food, but I'm going to eat every 2 hours to keep my metabolism up. That's not really what's happening. It's a nice thing to tell yourself, but your metabolism will slow down to match your food intake. And that's because your body's trying to survive. It's not going to have this revved up metabolism if you're not taking in enough calories to support it. Now, eating often is going to help with other things, like helping to keep your cortisol levels a little bit lower than they normally would be, and maybe to stave off a little hunger. But other than that, it's not going to do a whole lot of good eating often for metabolism when you are on a calorie restriction. If your metabolism is slowed down, right, and because you're eating less throughout your show prep, when you are done with the show and all of a sudden you're taking in this large volume of food, remember your metabolism has been low for a period of time, right? It's been low, and then you're going to take in this high volume of food, potentially for several days in a row, but your metabolism is still down here. Your metabolism's got to catch up to that increased amount of food, and that doesn't happen for quite some time. So all this extra food you're taking in for days on end post-show, a lot of it gets stored as fat because your metabolism isn't strong enough to utilize all that new food coming in, no matter how healthy you are or look. Remember, when you are either low carbing or taking in less calories, your body perceives that as stress, and prolonged stress can increase the amount of cortisol that's in your system, which will then eventually lead to accumulating more fat, especially once you start taking in more food post-show. So there's also two things that work together, and not for your benefit, and when you are right at that post-show mark, and that is your mental state as far as what you perceive as desirable in food. So if there's something that you normally like to eat, or your special treat that you haven't had for, say, 8 weeks or so, or even 10 weeks, and your mind can build that up into something much more than it actually is, because it still is just food, but your mind can build it up to the point where you want it so bad, right? Because you haven't been able to have it for so long. Well, then, coupled with that, you've got hormones that are bombarding you, saying, okay, we're in a famine, we need to restore our energy stores, and we need some energy in here now, and the moment we get it, we're going to store it away because we don't know when this famine's going to come back. So those two things work together, potentially to your detriment, because you're desiring that food, and then on a hormonal level your body really wants that food, so you're mentally craving it and hormonally craving it, which causes you to overindulge in a particular food, or all kinds of different foods for that matter. Believe me, I've done that too. So then that brings me to your post-show choices of food. If you're eating a lot of refined carbohydrates. We all know what those are. And you are causing serious swings in your blood sugar. That will raise your cortisol levels as well. And that will cause you to pack on more body fat. Causing these swings in blood sugar, remember at this point you're highly sensitive to that because for the last 8, 10, 12 weeks, as a consequence of your healthy diet and or the types of foods you're eating, your blood sugar levels have been very stable for the most part, right? So when you do start eating that garbage again, your blood sugar's all over the map and your insides are going crazy, right? So you have all these things on working against you post-show, and if you don't have a little preparation, then these things all added together, or any one or two of these things in conjunction with each other, can cause you to have a rebound that you likely don't want. And then if that wasn't enough, if you do have this rebound where you gain, say, 10, 15, 20 pounds in the matter of a couple weeks, because you're looking at yourself and you're going, oh my God, 2 weeks ago I was standing on stage. Now look at me. I'm having to almost get into my fat pants, right? Because you're gaining water and all that stuff as well. So then you kind of think, God, well, I've already gained this much. I might as well eat some more, make myself feel better, right? If you're that type of eater. So then that adds on to the pile. And so you've got all these things working against you post-show. So you've got your metabolism that's slow, you've got higher cortisol levels from the stress, you've got bad food choices after the show, which will cause weight gain. You've got a mental state that's telling you you've been deprived and now it's time to cut loose, and you've got hormones saying, feed me, feed me, feed me, we've been in a famine. So all those things together can equal a post-show rebound. So how do you not have one? You have to plan ahead. And if you think about it, if you've spent 10 or 12 weeks consistently altering your diet, pulling out carbs, lowering your calories, whatever, to get to that leanness, it should at least take that many weeks to then add the carbs back in and increase your calories progressively, so that you're the same way that you trimmed down to get on stage, you then go up and back to normal, right? And if you do have a plan for that, then you can get through that rebound period much, much, much better. But it is hard to stick to that. It takes a lot of persistence, and the same type of challenges that you face during your lean down, you may likely face post-show. So some of those same demons can come back around and present themselves again, and you have to get through that. And believe me, I've done both. I have gone completely nuts post-show and gained a bunch of weight, and I have been restrained and not gained nearly as much, and felt a lot better, frankly, about myself and also my insides and my energy level and everything else. So those are the makings of a post-show rebound, and hopefully I've given you a little information about how to avoid one.